Hi everybody. In my last video I mentioned I'm going to be doing a lot of PC and workstation rebuilds. So I thought it might be helpful to do a refurbishing PC guide. So we're going to do a step-by-step guide here, and by following these steps you can successfully refurbish a PC or a workstation. You can make it functional and efficient for various tasks. This will extend the life of the PC, and it'll also provide you with a satisfying do-it-yourself experience, while at the same time keeping another piece of electronic hardware out of the landfills. So let's jump right into this. The first thing you need to do is assess the condition of the PC or workstation that you're going to be working on. So let's say you get it shipped to you from eBay or another online source. First thing you want to do is open the box. Well, first make sure the box isn't severely damaged. If it is, that's a bad sign right there, and you need to make the driver aware of it and return it right then. If they just dropped it off, open it up, check for things like we see here. We have this damage on this PC. You don't want that. So you're going to want to return that as soon as possible. Tell them that it's damaged. Because even though it might be cosmetic on the outside, you could have a cracked motherboard or other damage. So the second thing you're going to want to do is take pictures so that you can prove that the damage was done when, and you can show the pictures to the seller. Next, you want to ensure everything is there. If everything's okay and you don't have any damage, you want to ensure everything is there, because that's another no-go. If something is missing, this could make your build cost a lot more money. So it's best if you go ahead and just verify everything that you paid for is there. Next, you're going to verify that everything is functional. So the power supply, the other components of the build, make sure everything is actually working. Second step, gather your tools. You're going to need screwdrivers, an anti-static wrist strap, thermal paste, an electric duster, or a compressed air can. I prefer electric air dusters. You can buy like the X-Power on Amazon. It's about $40, but you'll never need another can of condensed air, and it's very powerful, so it's really good. With that, you're going to need a brush with a long thin handle, something like the little brush you get in a watercolor painting set, something similar like that. It needs to have a long thin handle and stiff bristles. The reason is, when you blow out your case and your fans, you want to stick that brush in each fan as you go, the CPU fan too. And you don't want those fans spinning at super high RPMs. That's really bad for them. You could run them or, shorten their life. So put that in there as you blow each one, and you can use the bristles to dislodge any, hair or any dust that is kind of balled up, gunked up, and the air is not enough. So you can use that. For the outside of the case, some cleaning wipes or a very damp cloth. Always be careful. Whatever you use, it has to be really, really damp. Not too damp. It needs to be really dry. Not dry, but you know what I mean. It can't be dripping, or you're going to have problems even on the outside. Stuff could drip in. Next, recommended supplies. So let's gather our supplies, replacement parts if necessary, upgrade components like RAM, SSD, hard drives, etc. You're going to need operating system installation media, so like a USB thumb drive, a DVD, or both. I've had issues sometimes on older systems using a USB drive, so a DVD comes in handy. On some of the newer systems, there's no DVD drive, so you're going to need that USB thumb drive. You're going to need external storage device if you want to save or back up any of the data, like from your existing system or off of the new system. So have one of those handy if needed. Next, we have the power supply. You want to test the power supply and you want to inspect it, make sure there's no signs of corrosion or damage. It's never a good idea to use a faulty power supply. Further, I would recommend, if it's not an 80 plus bronze or higher, you consider replacing it with a gold or platinum power supply. An 80 plus gold or platinum is highly recommended because if you're using it for a home server or workstation or something that's going to be running a lot, it's going to be more efficient and a lot more reliable. And that's critical, especially with home servers that are going to be running 24/7. Check the motherboard and the CPU. You want to check for signs of damage. Personally, I wear reading glasses, but I have a set of reading glasses that are 3.5, so they're like magnifying glasses. And I use them for looking inside of computers, things like that. So get a flashlight, get a magnifying glass, or get some reading glasses, something so you can really look carefully at the motherboard to make sure there's no corrosion or obvious signs of damage, swelled transistors, resistors, things like that. So take a good look over it. If you plan to upgrade the CPU, you're going to want to verify the new CPU is compatible with the motherboard. Now, I have this site here that I recommend, and that site, cpuupgrade.com, very good site. I recommend doing an internet search on Bing or Google for whatever the name of the CPU is, followed by CPU upgrade list. And it should bring up this website as one of the first results. And it'll show you a whole list of CPUs that are compatible and the odds of that CPU upgrade being successful. Very, very helpful. Next, check the memory. You want to ensure the memory is inserted into the correct slots. This is very important. And you want to make sure that you used matching pairs. So I would highly recommend that all of the memory be the same exact memory. That can help a lot for especially dual and quad channel memory configurations like in a workstation. So sometimes on the inside of the case, they will have the diagram showing the correct memory slots. If they don't, check the manufacturer's website. Make sure you're inserting it in the correct slots. Upgrade, if the current amount is insufficient, a minimum of 8 gigabytes is recommended. 16 gigabytes is better. If you're going to be doing video editing and rendering, then 32 to 64. Next, hard drives. So if you want the system to run at peak performance, you're going to want to put the operating system on an SSD. If the system comes with a hard drive, like the spinning disk you see here in the photo, that'll make a great storage device. And you may want to add additional storage devices depending on how much storage you need. So put the operating system on an SSD and then put the other hard drives in there for storage. Now you're going to want to test all of the drives, especially if they're old drives, used drives. You want to test them with a program called Crystal Disk Info. This is going to tell you if they have bad sectors or other issues that will definitely lead to hard drive failure. If it's an SSD, it's going to tell you what percentage of the SSD is at. It's going to be like 80%, 90%, like that. So as the percentage goes down, then that shows a lot of wear on the drive. I'm not sure exactly when it should be replaced, but Most of the drives I have are between 85 and 99%, and some of them I've had for years. So a really low number is probably a bad sign. So you're going to test the GPU if it's included, or add a dedicated graphics card if it's not included and you want one like for playing games. So if you're gaming, I recommend finding a suitable GPU for the games you play. Visit the manufacturer's website and check out their recommended and their minimum standards. So what you can afford is going to play a part in that. Recommended, of course, is better, but anything less than a minimum, and it may not play at all. You don't want to go too far, especially on an older system with the graphics card, because you're going to get CPU bottleneck, which means the extra horsepower of that GPU is just going to be wasted. That might be fine if you have one laying around, or if you're doing something like, say, video rendering, because some of the programs like Video Studio from Corel, that has a function that'll take advantage of the GPU, so it will be useful. If if you're not going to be playing games or very old titles, older, cheaper AMD, NVIDIA GeForce, or Quadro card is going to be an excellent option. It's going to be very cheap. It's going to help you have better results when you're browsing the internet, watching videos, checking email, and running productivity software like Microsoft Word or PowerPoint or something like that. Okay, step 10. We're going to reassemble and upgrade the PC. So carefully reinstall all the components. Ensure all the connections are secure. A lot of people, including myself, have had this problem, and then you don't know what's wrong with the computer, and it excuse me, it could be something as simple as something that's not secure. You didn't quite get that graphics card and fully inserted. Maybe one of the memory modules is slightly loose. So make sure we get it in there good. Install any additional RAM, replace any hard drives, add the SSD for your operating system, add or upgrade the graphics card if you're going to be doing gaming or video editing, rendering, like that. Next, we're going to install the operating system. So you're going to want to make sure, if you have any old data on one of those drives, back it up or just install on a new drive. But make sure you back up and save your data if you're using the same drive. So you're going to install the operating system, as we mentioned earlier, with a bootable USB drive or a DVD installation media. The on-screen prompts are going to lead you right through step by step, tell you what to do next, give you the options, and you can search for videos here on YouTube, and that'll tell you how to do it. Next, update the operating system and the drivers. As you load the operating system for the first time, you're going to see it adding the drivers and things like that, but it won't do all of them. It only installs the essential drivers, like for the graphics card, like for the Ethernet, Wi-Fi, things like that. But it'll often install generic drivers. So once the system is booted up, make sure you update the operating system and then look for the optional updates, and then update all the other drivers for, like, you'll see Realtek, maybe Ethernet, something like that. There's different names, but Realtek is the most popular. So make sure you update all those drivers. Next, purchase and download software from trusted resources that you're going to want to use on your computer. I highly recommend antivirus software. I personally use Norton. There are a lot of other good options out there. So do your research. Maybe check out PCMag.com. They have a very detailed reviews, and they can tell you what's popular, or I should say what's good right now, what the best options are. So check that out. And they'll also have reviews for free antivirus software, sometimes by the same manufacturers or developers. So you check it out, pick something. Utilities such as a web browser. Windows only installs Microsoft Edge by default, but it is based on Chrome. So it's very capable, very good. I like using it, but I also install Chrome and Firefox, so you might want to download those. You're also going to possibly want to install productivity software like Microsoft Office, or there's a free alternative known as LibreOffice, and it's a very good program. It has presentations, it has Word document type open documents, so it'll handle Word files and stuff like that. And it has some other components similar to Microsoft Office. Next, testing and final checks. You're going to want to test the system performance and stability. Make sure you're not having any issues. The software here at the top, HW Info, Crystal Disk Info, CPU-Z, and GPU-Z can help you do that. They're going to help you run performance tests to ensure your PC is running optimally. Make sure the CPU and the GPU are running well. And HW Info, that's going to help you check your temperatures. So you want to make sure everything is staying cool while you're doing these tests. If you see those temperatures jumping up, that's not a good sign. And you can check for your system to see what the correct temperatures are, what the normal temperatures are. It's going to vary depending on your graphics card and CPU. So check online, verify that yours is running good. You might even want to stress test it just to make sure. Well, that's about it. So the final thing is just these final touches. Cable management is always important. It looks better, you feel better about your case, but it can also help improve airflow. So it's not just aesthetics. So ensure that you get that cable management as good as possible. Keep everything away from fans and also from the areas where the fans blow in, so we're not creating these like vortexes and stuff where the air is not flowing and it's getting spun around the case instead. Give the exterior a nice clean again, and check before you plug everything up. Check that all the ports and connections are all corrosion and dust free. Make sure there's nothing in there. Make sure they all look nice before you start plugging your stuff up. But never stick anything metal in any of them. If you have to, you can stick like a plastic toothpick or something. Be very gentle just to remove anything out of there. And finally, a final inspection. Just check everything one more time for your peace of mind. And like this video, share this video, and watch the videos that are coming up. As I said, we have about 15 to 20 workstations, home servers, and other builds that are coming up. So we'll be following this guide. And one final thought is, we are going to be selling most, if not all, of those systems online. And I'm going to leave for each video, I'll leave a link to our website and a link to that very product, and you'll be able to purchase them online. So something new we're doing. Appreciate you watching. Have a great day.